Oscar Piastri. He didn't have the most ideal start to his Formula 1 career, did he? You know that feeling when you plan the perfect weekend, but then everything that could go wrong does go wrong? Well, that's pretty much what happens to Piastri and McLaren in Bahrain. McLaren had pretty high hopes for their new recruit, and with the pressure of filling Daniel Ricciardo, who left early last year, Piastri was ready to show the world what he's made of. To be fair though, he didn't have that much to live up to because Daniel couldn't have done much worse, so it doesn't really matter. But boy, did he face some challenges at this race weekend. Piastri might have had a sparking and esteemed junior series career, but that didn't stop him from getting knocked out in Q1. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. And if that wasn't enough, Piastri's first Grand Prix was far from smooth sailing. He encountered some issues that really seriously affected his race in the first third of the Grand Prix, and even McLaren's best efforts with a steering wheel change couldn't fix the problem. And this sadly resulted in a DNF for Oscar Piastri in his first ever Formula 1 race weekend. With all of this being knocked down Q1 and not getting enough laps in testing or even the Grand Prix, does this mean that Oscar Piastri is a fraud or overrated? Maybe he's one of those drivers who's a junior category merchant. We see them all the time. I guess you could say Nico Hulkenberg was one, winning GP2 but then not really going anywhere, or Romain Grosjean. We've got Stoffel van Dorn, or maybe even Mick Schumacher, you could say, is in this category. Maybe he did really well in the junior series and feeder series, but when it comes to Formula 1, he isn't that gifted. On the other hand though, you could see this a bit of a fumble on Oscar's side. He had the option to go to Alpine or McLaren. Now, yes, I guess McLaren has a bit more history and a bit more reliability, I guess you could say, in winning races and getting some sort of success. But then there's Alpine, who have sort of fallen under the radar with how bad they're doing, which I'll make a video on. So is Oscar Piastri fumbled, or is he overrated? But in Bahrain, there's Lando Norris as well, Piastri's teammate, who was also struggling with his engine, making a 6-stop strategy. Now, I'm no Formula 1 strategist, but I think something's gone very wrong if you're stopping 6 times in one race. So this made it a very tough day for the entire McLaren camp. But to be fair, you know, these things happen in racing. It's all part of the racing game. As regards to the actual issue, Zach Brown, McLaren Racing CEO, said it was electrical apparently, and Oscar obviously confirmed this. And they said it didn't actually come up in testing, so they didn't know this was going to happen, which was a bit of a problem. I guess they tried a myriad of different ways to try and resolve it, but nothing really did. He literally had to Control-Alt-Delete the car to try and make it work. If you look at the actual onboard, you can see the McLaren sort of loading screen, but obviously that didn't work, so he had to retire. What a shame. But the one thing I found about Oscar is I think he seems like a really chill guy. Like, he thinks really just calm. When he gets asked loads of questions under pressure, he sort of just replies really confidently. For example, he said, "Oh no, I'm just feeling inspired by the car." Well, aren't we fancy, Oscar? We're using our big words, aren't we? That wasn't a big word, sorry. And then he went on to say how excited he was to be on the grid with McLaren, a team rich with racing and winning history, you know. But right now, that's like the opposite of McLaren. They're literally the new Williams. Not orange is the new black, it's orange is the new blue, I guess, no, sorry, papaya is the new blue. That's what it should be. Papaya is the new Williams. Oh, that's like an unboxed title. They always have things like that. Anyway. But yeah, I think Piastri's sort of calm and coolness will really come to help him in the future of definitely this season, because McLaren are going to have some technical issues. You can just see it. They're going to have a bit of a dog of a car, a bit of a donkey, if you will. Because of his success in the junior categories, he's got so much pressure from everyone in the paddock. And when I say everyone, I literally mean everyone. I mean, we all saw Drive to Survive, didn't we? Otmar was like, "Oh my goodness, I want this guy." And everyone else was like, "Oh, he's got..." Will Buxton was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest guy I've ever seen in racing." That was awful. I should never do impressions. However though, like I said, the pressure will skyrocket as the season progresses, because like Mick Schumacher, who everyone seemed to rate really highly, if he doesn't perform in that car, then I don't think he's going to be in Formula 1. If he doesn't perform in that car, everyone's going to start to doubt him, you know? Like I said earlier, is this the biggest fumble in F1 history? I think people cut him a bit of slack because of the car, but this, again, it really depends on how Lando does. If he's keeping up with Lando, then fine. I don't think anyone's really going to be arguing against how bad he is or how good he is. If everyone can see that Lando Norris is getting P15, P16, P17, I think we all know that that's not a very good car. And if Oscar's staying with him, then fair play to him, he's keeping up with Lando. But this is a bigger problem for McLaren. How are they going to try and keep their 2-star drivers? I mean, they went through a lot of hassle to get Oscar, so surely they're going to want to keep him. But how are they going to keep him if their car is not performing? Because someone like Oscar could probably win championships off the bat if he was put in the right car. It's just whether McLaren can develop a car which will keep both Lando and Oscar, because I'm sure Lando might move to Red Bull or Mercedes when Hamilton retires. But yeah, is Oscar Piastri a fraud, or has he just made the biggest fumble in Formula 1 history? Let me know in the comments below.